Drogba indirdi ceza. Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera. Fernando Muslera. Golün adı Muslera. Sarıyoglu. Drogba. This is incredible.
Hello. What's going on, all my little cubs? Welcome to episode 51 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community for the community. Today, I'm your host, Emre, and I'm with my two co-hosts today, Salih and Yasin. I usually start off with my neighbor, Yasin, but today I'm going to give the go-ahead to Salih. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Doing good. How are you doing? If I may ask myself that firstly to you as well. How are you doing, Emre?
Thank you for asking, bro. Sheesh, someone finally thinks about me. Dude, I'm doing good, man. The weather is finally getting warmer here, and can't enjoy it more than I have already enjoyed it, man. I hate the cold weather. I don't know about you guys, but I can't ever live where, like, John lives in Canada. Shout out to John. But I can't live there, man. I don't know about you, Yasin. How do you feel about the weather?
No, agreed. Lately, it's been great. You know, being able to go to work with just no jacket, no vest or anything like that. You know, it feels good being able to go
like 50 layers of clothes.
Yeah, and then coffee breaks are all the better. You know, in the city, walking around, you know, with coworkers, enjoying the sun, getting some of that melatonin, and just the weather, because it makes you feel better. Obviously, because it's just nicer outside. It makes everything else that feels good feel that much better. It just amplifies your mood, and I guess
exactly.
I guess that's what I would attribute my good feeling to recently. I mean, you know, thank God everything has been pretty well recently. Galatasaray is doing good. You know, my friends and family are healthy. We're going into the spring and summer. My favorite two seasons is basically spring and fall, because it's neither too hot or too cold. So this weather is really nice. The trees and flowers are coming out. So everything's good, man. Everything's good. Can't complain.
Everything's good, huh?
Yes, sir.
Good.
So when you guys say that it's getting warmer, like what's the temperature like right now?
Okay.
Because over in the Netherlands, it's still kind of cold. It's like around 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. I know we have to convert it to Fahrenheit for you guys, but...
Well, yesterday it was 29 degrees Celsius, and today is hovering around 23, 24.
29? Oh, damn.
Yeah. It was
that's good.
Right, Yasin? It was like 80-something degrees.
This past week was really good, and I was joking about my coworkers. Like, during the week, it was great, but obviously we're in the office working, and then you're heading into the weekend, hoping that the weather is just as good for you to, like, do things that you actually like outside. And this weekend, it kind of actually got cold. You know, it was a bit rainy. Now it's, you know, 67 where I am, which is 20 degrees Celsius. And I'm not complaining. That's still good. But, like, it wasn't as good as it was during the week. But hopefully it maintains like this and just gets better over the next few weeks.
65, huh? Okay, so that's like 19 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Still very good.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And another question. Don't you guys have, like, weak genes like me? I have hay fever. So even though I wouldn't really like the spring, man, it sucks, man. I have like a running nose. I get itchy eyes, etc. Don't you guys have that too? Or are you guys blessed?
Some people have it. Like, for me, I don't have it. Like, it's not as consistent. I'll have it in the fall. Like, I always get like some sort of like small cold in the fall. Like, when we transition from like summer into like fall, I always get something like that. But no, I don't know. I don't have the Nordic genes to go into the winter. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, allergies. Thank God. You know, one of the few, some of the genes that I'm really blessed with, I suppose. I don't have any allergies. You know, around this time, I do get sick pretty much every year around January when it's cold, runny nose, runny eyes for like a week or two. But otherwise, I'm pretty fine.
Yeah, in spring we're good. We just pop a Claritin and we're Gucci. Yeah. Claritin is like an allergy medication. So
let's
for those who don't
hope
know.
it stays that way. As you guys know, like allergies, you can get them pretty late on as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This way.
Immune system is just like...
Because in my household, right, I think I have this allergy thing from my mom, but I always remember my dad always being like, it's probably nothing, etc. And he got the hay fever too, I think about like 5 or 6 years ago, like pretty recent. So yeah, never be never.
Yeah, people
how
can
to say it?
develop allergies to
Mhm.
random things like, oh, you drink coffee, right?
Yeah.
Like 30 years, you'll drink coffee, and all of a sudden you just develop an allergy. It's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Can you also develop that if you have coffee in your veins, like Yasin, or
Say,
You have what?
say it again.
coffee in your veins? Veins?
Coffee in your veins.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen because then I might be fucked.
Well, you don't inject yourself with caffeine every time you wake up? What?
Me? No, I don't.
No, Yasin.
Mr.,
So I mean, lately I've been, dieting, doing a different type of diet, and just naturally looking up, what scientists, doctors have to say about, your health and when you eat and when you don't eat certain things. And I just learned recently, and this is probably like well-known knowledge from most people, but you really should not be drinking caffeine, I should say.
Caffeine?
Within the first like 2-3 hours you wake up. You should let your body naturally wake up, from the sun and just getting movement going before you have your first sip of additional, supplemented caffeine such as coffee or tea. So I used to there were times where if I'm waking up early, I would like right away, hot black coffee, get the body going. But you shouldn't be doing that apparently. Like you should wait a couple hours.
And why is that? Drop the facts, boy.
I mean, I don't know the exact science details behind it, but the guy was basically saying like it's just healthier and better for your body to, wake itself up on its own before getting extra supplements, because I think it might also just deteriorate the effect of that caffeine or that source if you have it too early, and you might also grow some sort of dependence on it as well, which makes sense in theory. Or if your
tolerance goes up as well.
Exactly, and I think that applies for pretty much anything, sugar or whatever it is.
Right.
But, so I'm doing my best to kind of just wait till 9-10 a.m. before having my first sip of caffeine every day, because I usually wake up between 6 and 6:30.
Luckily, you're not dependent on it, right?
No,
Caffeine or whatever.
I wouldn't say I'm dependent on it, but I'm sure if I go a work day without having any caffeine, I'm going to be having headaches, or my performance might not be as good and as efficient the first couple of days to a week that I'm trying to adjust. But yeah, that's that.
Right. We not like most of us probably aren't as dependent as Yasin on caffeine, but what we are dependent on is Galatasaray doing good.
Nice transition.
Moving into our thank you. Galatasaray news as of late. So there's been quite a bit of stuff, but yes, go ahead, Yasin.
I don't actually mean to cut you off before we get into the news, and I think it's worth. I think I did, and I said I'm sorry, but I'm actually not, because I think this is necessary. I think we have a lot of new listeners on the podcast based on stats, numbers, and if you look at our other platforms like Twitter, we've really grown. And a huge shout out to our main two contributors to our Twitter page. And if you follow us on Twitter, I'm sure you're well aware that thing is going constantly up to date with all the news. The goals, reactions, player reactions, social media like Galatasaray main page reactions, and that Galatasaray main page has been on fire, and so has ours. So huge shout out to Samet, our main host, who is one of the contributors, and to Eren. He's not on the podcast as a speaker, but he is our, I guess you can call him our social media manager. Some of the guys that we have listening today for the first time, they would have never heard of Galatasaray Lions Den podcast if it wasn't for Eden and his contributions on Twitter. So huge thank you to him and Samet. John is primarily responsible for our media, so huge shout out to him as well. Some of the other guys sprinkle in some tweets and reactions here and there too. But if you're listening for the first time, thank you, welcome. We have a lot of great episodes that were in the past that maybe if you have time you can listen to, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you have any I guess I'll mention it now, but we'll mention at the end as well. If you have any recommendations on how we can do things better, please let us know. And then I guess I'll leave it to you, Emre, to continue where I cut you off from. Apologies.
If that's okay with you, and Ansal, if you don't have anything else to add, may I get into the agenda? You have anything to add, Saleh?
No, you get my permission. You can start.
Really? Okay, thank you so much. All right, guys, my little cubs. Thank you for joining us today, episode 51. We have quite a bit of stuff on the agenda. Well, one thing I really wanted to talk about before we get into the few games that we didn't talk about till now, the Başak game and the Kayseri game. Let's start with the Basaksehir game. We lost that game 2-3, and most would say we didn't play our best game. I disagree. I think we played pretty decent. There's a couple of things I can criticize the coach about. But there's another thing that happened that I didn't really expect to happen. Tugay Kerimoğlu resigned from beIN Sports. You know, the program with all the, very unbiased, people, that program. What he came out and said was he wasn't allowed to really be himself. He was constantly censored, and he just said, I'm done with this, and he just left. He was on Spor Gecesi, and I don't know if he was on Spor Gecesi, but I was seeing that they were the source, and they're usually pretty good about these things. So, what do you guys think about this? I don't know. I didn't think he would actually resign with the way he was going, but there he is. It happened. And they still haven't found anyone to replace him yet.
I mean, the fact that he resigned due to him, well, as you just mentioned, being suppressed and not really being able to talk about, in this case, like the refs that, referee our games, specifically the Basaksehir game, where, some, you could say, scandalous moments did erupt. It is, how should I put it? It is telling that he leaves for this reason. That he probably just has had enough, and in this case, it's also I would say a sign of a indirect protest. I can't really come out of my words that well right now, but I see it more as a protest type of move, just to completely resign from beIN, send a message to the fans as well that enough is enough, and this Lale Orta / MHK thing needs to be taken more seriously,
right?
And call for justice. Pretty much that.
I don't think that's going to do anything because they're just so super blatant about it. If they can go curse at Galatasaray without getting into trouble, I think they would. It's come to that point that I've seen with how blatant they are with their bias towards the other teams. And you can see that Galatasaray is not welcome. And you see, like, as of late, there's a mass exodus of TV reporters, and they go on YouTube and create their own YouTube channels. Right? And then you see them being able to talk freely there. Well, most of them, not all of them, obviously. There's still some, But yeah, most of them are pretty much, leaving these big channels and starting their own channels. I mean, why not? Right? Like, why not?
And also you say that, yes, I mean, this in itself, of course, won't do much, but you should see the same as, for example, turning it to politics. Like, one vote in itself, of course, doesn't mean a lot, but if more and more people start...
Yeah, it accumulates.
Exactly, it starts to accumulate, and at some point, they do have to at least look at it or address it or, do something about it, because this can't continue.
Right.
Not healthy for sport in general.
Yasin, do you have anything else to add before I go a little bit more into the detail of the game?
No, I think, Emre, you've said this many times before. beIN Sports is obviously biased, and it's no surprise that a lot of analysts, prior players that go on there don't stay too long, especially the Galatasaray ones. Is it coincidence or not? I guess, you make your own determination on that. But, I have mixed feelings about Tugay and this situation because earlier in the season, when Galatasaray was getting absolutely butchered by the refs and TFF, before Erdem Tumur came out and, really put his hand down on the situation, we were complaining, fans were complaining about all that's been going on, the lack of decisions, actually unbiased decisions, not necessarily in our favor, but just what's actually accurate, what's going on in the game. And Tugay Kerimoğlu, I don't remember which game it was after, but in a post-match conference, he basically said, Galatasaray fans, I'm summarizing it here, don't quote me, but he was saying, what is everybody complaining about? Everybody's complaining too much. This is the reality of the case. Galatasaray needs to play on the field or something like this. I don't remember the exact quote because it was earlier in the season. But
I know what you're saying.
But it really turned off a lot of Galatasaray fans and media And he fell from, in Turkish we say yüzümüzden düştü. I think that's what they're saying. Gözümüzden düştü, I believe.
Yeah, he fell from grace.
Fell from grace. I really lost a lot of respect for him after that, and I personally stopped listening to him. Previously, I really knew the bias existed on beIN Sports, but being the Galatasaray and Turkish football lover fanatic that I am, like you guys, I still like to get different opinions, even though I don't disagree with it. After that comment from him, I completely stopped listening. So I actually just found out that he left beIN Sports recently. I guess I missed it on Twitter, but apparently this happened last week or so. Good riddance. I mean, good for him that he stepped up. I guess better late than never. But I'm sure he'll show face on Volley or Nutsport or one of those other YouTube channels that you just mentioned, because at the end of the day, the guy has a name for himself and people will still listen, especially if he's more free to say what he wants. But I have a sour taste with him. Hopefully it works out for him and, Galatasaray Jamia, as a fan base. But that's all I really wanted to say. I guess we can probably move on from that one.
I don't blame Tugay. It's a hard world out there. Sometimes you gotta lick the boots of other people to get to places, especially in Turkey, because we know how it works in Turkey. But moving on, why do I talk about this? Why did Tugay Kerimoğlu quit? Well, it's pretty much the recent events. We've been getting butchered since the Kasımpaşa game, and, well, we got butchered in the Istanbul Basaksehir game, the Turkish Cup game. Look, we didn't play our best game, but I don't think we played our worst game. It ended 2-3. Goals that we scored were from Kaan Ayhan, which Mauro Icardi assisted, and the second goal, another goal from Mauro Icardi, and that came from a Zaniolo assist. So we can say this is where we saw the comeback from Icardi, because he's been starting to perform really well, especially the last game, which we'll talk about. But the coach decided this game to act a little rash and go with a few rotations. In hindsight, you probably would have thought, this team is good enough without them. We'll probably do all right. But then, we lost. So those rotations were mainly Kaan Ayhan in place of Nelson, and we started with Miso instead of Sergio Oliveira that game. Also, and the third one I would say is another one is Zaniolo started instead of Rashica. So 3 players out from our main XI. This one game, I don't know. Basaksehir came ready and prepared because they had a game plan in place, which probably wouldn't have worked out as well if these players were present in the game. Their main consistent threat was getting the balls in the back to take advantage of that little displacement between Kaan and Abdülkerim. You can. Oh, and I forgot. Kazım Karataş was also. I don't know if you consider him a rotation, lads, but yeah, no,
left back is like we have no really set player.
It is it's like put 4 names in a box and just randomize it, and then that's the player that's probably going to play the week of the game.
The play that has played most on that position still is Patrick van Aanholt, strangely enough. Of course,
yes.
Not always as a starter, but
Jesus, that's how random this position is. But you get my point. Anyway, listen. There was 2 positions I would say that's really, really, really bad. The goal that they scored where Serdar Güler, he did an overhead kick and Kaan Ayhan was going in towards his leg. He did an overhead kick and they gave the goal. They didn't give the foul. But the same game, the same refs, they gave a foul to Zaniolo, who did the same thing in their box. So there's one. And then the second one was a penalty, was a handball, bro. I don't know if you guys remember, but Icardi was going up. I think it was with Duarte into the air, and Duarte literally hits the ball with his elbow. He lifts his elbow to hit the ball, and they didn't go to VAR for it. There was another penalty call earlier, which could have been all right, I get it. It's not as blatant, but this one was super blatant. They didn't give the penalty. So these are the main points I wanted to talk about and get your guys' reaction on it. What's going on with VAR? I'm pretty sure he collected cobwebs until the last game, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Salih.
Yeah, Salih, go ahead.
Or Yasin, please, someone, hurry up.
It's as you mentioned before, it's the age-old question: what happened to VAR? Why does it seem like it's always just not in our advantage? The Serdar Güler one, where he put his foot up kind of high. I'm a bit more lenient on that one. Just my view on it.
Me too. But the thing is, they did the same thing. We did the same thing, and they called the foul on Zaniolo. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that thing, of course, that because it doesn't count for them, but does count for us. The foul itself. Then you'll again start questioning again, like, why is this? Why is it not, as we say, fair and on the same ground, basically? But the other one, the handball, it's just. Like, come on, man. That's like so obvious that it is a handball. He didn't even have his hand in like a supernatural position. It wasn't tied to his own body as well. I forgot the defense name. I think it was indeed Leo Duarte. And they didn't even check it. Like, again, it's the same thing. Like, okay, maybe the ref didn't see it. I think he should have seen it, but they didn't even check that position at all. And then you start questioning again, like, why does this happen again? I know it's a cup game and, the importance differs from fan to fan. I myself do find it important. I think we should just win all prizes where it's possible. But it's, at this point, like, am I surprised? No. Am I disappointed? Yes, of course I am. But yeah, that's just my view on it. I'm just really tired of it, seeing it match in, match out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's really not a lot more to say. Inconsistent calls and terrible decisions in refereeing in our league. Color me surprised. And unfortunately, this one cost us not just the game, but the cup. Because I think once we get past these guys, we had a pretty decent road to.
We were going to play Ankara Gücü.
Yeah, exactly. But to not spend too much more time on this game, I do want to add one more thing though. And that's the decision of the lineup. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what do you think about the rotations? Because what Okan Hoca said after the game was that Nelson and Rashica were rotations because they were tired because they came from the national team or whatever. That's one of the things he said. But what about Sergio Oliveira? Why did he decide? Why do you think he decided to bench him? The first part of your comment about being tired, I get it, but it's a big game.
We had a bye week.
We bye week the following week, right? I believe it was. After this one, I'm gonna add that too. But just because we beat, I'm not saying that Okan thought like this, but just because we beat Basaksehir 7-0 away, that doesn't mean we're gonna have all of a sudden easier time or an okay time playing them now, right? Because Basaksehir, in their mind, any team that we play in the cup going forward, now that we're not in any other team that's in it, they're giving their all because they don't have a shot at the Super League anymore. That's between us and Fenerbahce. But they have a shot at still winning a trophy and getting a place in Europe because of the Turkish Cup. So they're giving their all. They're putting their 100% focus in it, So we have to go into the match with the same thinking. So Frederick Micho started over Sergio, and to your point, Sergio was not on international duty, so he didn't have that excuse of being tired. And the only logical reason that I can think of playing Frederick over Sergio in this game was because of his heroic performance the prior game, 4 days before that one against Adana Demirspor, where he scored the goal in the 86th minute to take us.
The forma adalet that Okan Hoca has.
Look, forma adalet is a beautiful thing. I love it. I think if a player deserves it because of his performances, they should play more than they were before. Keyword more than before, because that doesn't mean they should all of a sudden start. And that's what happened with Frederick.
Right.
The difference between starting Frederick and Sergio is how you shape the game from the get-go. A player like Sergio, who's been in our starting lineup for most of the season, by now, because of his, experience as a very good footballer too, he has good IQ on the game and the position he plays. He understands the tempo that we need to start the game, how he needs to pass the ball, how he needs to get everybody involved, and just distribute the ball who he needs to distribute it to because he has a ability. When you take a guy like that out of your starting lineup and you put in Micho, all of a sudden the way that the team starts off and shapes that game is entirely different. I'm not saying Micho doesn't deserve more minutes or, he's not capable of having a hand on any given game because he did that the prior game. But we just lack that presence when a guy like Mertens, when a guy like Kerem, when a guy like Icardi, or in this case Sergio, is not starting. The rest of the guys on the field now have more responsibility to be able to shape the game in ways that they're not normally accustomed to doing. So I think that made a big impact as well. Misho is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I love him. But starting him over Sergio, I think, affected our performance. And same thing with, I guess now in this case, Nelson. Kaan Ayhan is a decent center back. But I think, Emre, you mentioned it before, but, his ability to kind of keep that, high pressure in the midfield, like, the high line, the way that Abdülkerim or Nelson does is not the same. And that's not to say he's not capable of it, but this is just our style of football and the way that we play. Nelson was not necessarily as good as the high pressure now as he was last year, or at last year as he is now. That's because Okan Buruk and the coaching staff was able to teach that to him, and now he's able to do it. Kaan Ayhan might be perfectly capable of doing this just as good, if not better than Nelson next year if he stays. But the fact that he came from a different team and he's only been here for 2-3 months, it's going to take him time to get adjusted to that. And I think that affected us too. Our defensive performance last game against Basaksehir was not very good. I don't know if you guys agree with that,
right.
But I think that's where we we lost the game, our defense.
Usually we have like immense defense. This is the first game all season. I think we conceded 3 goals, more than 2 goals. So you can definitely tell there is an issue there. But yeah, look, Kazımcan also is not the regular, and I felt like I wouldn't put the game on Kazımcan, but I do feel like they found a lot of open space behind Kazımcan.
Yeah, he's very attacking.
He's like the polar opposite of Adekugbe, where Adekugbe prefers to stay back and just defend and uses strength and speed to defend, whereas Kazımcan
by the way, that's
does not.
That's Sam for you, Yasin. That's who he's talking about. But yeah, move on.
Adekugbe, Yasin. All right.
Yeah.
And Nelson, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's a shame because that game we had a lot of possession, a lot of attacks. Again, the one thing that the Hoca does that tilts me is putting Gomis and Icardi in the same time. Like I just don't recall a game where we won. We made a comeback with them 2 on the field. Maybe it was like one game. But apart from the header from Gomis that came off the post, I felt like we regressed way more than we actually progressed. And that was like in the 80th minute plus the extra time. Like 20 minutes of our game was just completely gone. Like I really hope down the line the Hoca instead of Gomis, I know he's trying to keep everyone happy, but like use Zaniolo as your second striker that you want to put in with Cardi, because they're like not the same, profile.
Yeah.
Gomis is slow, man. If you're gonna put Gomis, that's like when you have no other option. That's your last ditch effort to get something. Look, Gomis is the man. He's the guy. He's a mensch. Okay, he's a mensch. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here right now. Okay, but Hocan, please, for the love of God, please. And again, I think we covered most of it. I wanted to get more into detail regarding the Kayseri game.
I just
but
wanted
there's
to
more
add,
stuff.
Wanted to add one more thing on the rotation part. Just the way I see it is, about like the players being tired or not. I think that's also more a way just to protect your own players rather than saying, I just wanted to give them a chance and they didn't live up to it, etc., etc. But yeah, the rotations, we didn't rotate that much, but it was just a case of if it did work out, then Okan is a genius, and if it didn't, well, you then ask questions like this, like, hey, why did he actually do it? It's just
like it worked in the Alanya game, but it just didn't work here.
It's just a toss of a coin, and it didn't work, unfortunately. Even though we were the more dominant team, I would say
it would have worked if VAR worked, right?
That's also true. But it's too bad. But we can move on from this and go on to
speaking
the
of actually, I forgot to mention this, but Icardi got a fine for an Instagram post, guys. Instagram post criticizing the game. And they were trying to ban him. Like, give him a couple of game suspensions, but I forgot what his name was, but a Galatasaray member in the committee that hands out fines and bans stopped them from giving Icardi a match ban or multiple, because his case was that, if George Jesus can go and say, the game is played on the tables, not on the field, and get no fines other than, like financial fines, then Icardi wasn't going to get it either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big deal. Like a lot of people fought over this, and people are arguing, Icardi should have, gotten a ban because of this. And they were comparing it to the Osai Samuel, which I clearly remember him saying the refs are shit. Like he was he cursed at them and he directly targeted them. So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no further comments on that apart from, I think some Fener fans particularly didn't like the fact that we had somebody, speaking to TFF to, kind of guide the punishment for Icardi. But in reality, that's how things are run, right? Like, there's organizations and there's representatives, in the government, every state has its representatives for, the federal government in the United States, and they speak on behalf of the people that they represent. And from my understanding, TFF and in general, and MHK, they have representatives from clubs that can have some input. You need to hear
all them have it,
different perspectives and reasons, because maybe they didn't think about it, right? There's past precedents all the time. But does an organization always do a perfect job thinking of every prior example? No. But our representatives might. So they might be able to be like, okay, here in this case, Osai did this, Jesus did this, X person did this, Salih did that, Emre did that. And that's why I think that Icardi should not get a match ban. And they apparently found it a reasonable argument, which makes sense. And they didn't give it to him. That's it. Move on. So I don't see anything suspicious or weird about it. If they did give him a game ban, I think that would have been suspicious and weird, but fortunately that's not the case.
Right. They'd all love him to get banned, wouldn't they? Because they're scared of Icardi, bro. Yeah. They know what's coming to them. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
In other news, this is one thing. Hopefully this is our same fate as well, but our man Albert Riera actually clinched his title with Olimpia Ljubljana. So props to him, man. I don't know. Maybe one day in the future, we might see Albert Riera. One day. Well, it's not today, but one day.
At some point.
At some point.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, I think he deserves that. I don't know. I think
Bro, it's nice to see our players doing well as coaches, man, because it gives me hope that we don't have to rely on other coaches that we tried and it didn't work out with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not good to have a plan B.
Yeah, for sure.
C, D, and stuff going forward.
And I thought he did a decent job when Terim brought him as an assistant. One of the few small examples of Terim bringing a proper assistant for Galatasaray. And, in this case, it worked out. I remember him having a good impact. I liked his body language and his reactions on the sideline. I think he had a good interaction with Kerem when he was here as an assistant. And hey, Albert Riera got booed by his own fans at this team, Olimpia.
Booed?
Yeah,
Bro, this man got threatened in the press conference. Bro, the mobs came after him. He's like,
that's true.
Told him to leave. Otherwise, they were going to murder the man.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and he
booed. That's the least of his worries.
Yeah, and he kept his head up and he won the league. I think he had first place on lock for most of the season. I think they had a couple hiccups, but if you follow him on social media and Instagram, he always kept his head up. I think his team got screwed by refs as well. So
you got that Galatasaray DNA.
I got that Galatasaray DNA. But he won, so good for him. Hopefully,
it's a winner.
Yeah, keep that winner mentality. And
winner
like you
blood.
said, would love to see him back at Galatasaray sometime in the future when he establishes and proves himself in some maybe better teams before Galatasaray. So TBD.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of course, you can question the level, but in the end, he did it as a head coach, right, or manager, or whatever you want to call it, and not as an assistant manager. So
exactly.
It's a good first step, and hopefully he may have a very good career after this. And at some point, if he's worthy of our level, he may coach us. So let's wait and see.
Well, let's wait and see. All right, what I'm pretty sure most people don't want to wait for is the Kayseri game. All right, so Yasin usually put us into the games. Why don't you take this one from me, brother?
Okay. So after a bye week, unfortunately, we're finally back into things. We played against
And
Kayseri.
no more bye weeks, by the way.
No more bye
We should
weeks.
point that out.
No more, keep me honest here,
Finally,
but
bro.
no more international breaks either, right? Is that correct?
No, that's correct. No more international breaks.
Hallelujah. Because for the last few months, basically since, unfortunately, the earthquake happened, we had a lot of breaks. The earthquake, bye weeks, this, that.
World Cup.
World Cup, man, it's just we lost that feeling of consistency, and hopefully this game was to be the start of that again, and boy did it turn out to be, right? So we'll discuss all that details, but Kayserispor, they seem to be our kryptonite in some way. We obviously proved that wrong today, but I believe we haven't been able to beat Kayseri in our last 3 matches. So there was some worry going into that one. To be exact, our last 3 games. Last game we lost 2-1. Before that we tied 1-1, and before that we lost 3-0. So it's been some time since Kayseri got 0 points versus us, and so that was kind of the tone going into this one. Our lineups start with Galatasaray. I probably only really care about Galatasaray on this one, but we had Muslera and net. On the right side we had Sacha Bowie. On the left we had Sam. And in the middle, we saw the return of Abdülkerim and Victor Nelson together. And honestly, that was kind of shocking, right? Because Abdülkerim Bardakçı was rumored to have, a back issue or some other injury problems coming into this one. So that was a pleasant surprise. In the midfield, we saw the return of our best duo, which is Lucas Torreira and Sergio Oliveira. On the wings, we had Kerem and Rashica. In the middle, we had Mertens. And up top, we had Icardi. So for me, I'm curious what you guys think about it, but this was pretty much a very ideal lineup. The only question mark, I suppose, in parentheses question mark, is Sam. And that's because you might argue Kazimcan, but we definitely needed a Turkish player. I think he was the weakest, foreigner. I guess he's not even included, but we definitely needed a Turkish representative at that left back position, and it was basically between him and Kazimcan. And Kazimcan wasn't even the team squad, so I don't even, I have no hiccups with it, right? Like, if you're not playing Sam there, who else are you going to play? So I thought it was a very ideal 11. What do you guys think about that?
Just like you mentioned, very ideal. It's the exact same lineup that we had at the Adana game, I think. Nothing really that I can say about the lineup. It's just as good as it goes. Right, Emre? I mean, there's probably nothing else add on it.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? Maybe I have something to add. But
guy,
no, I got nothing to add.
Yeah,
you guys pretty much
perfect.
You know what I'll add before the game? Fenerbahçe came out and criticized, Kayserispor for staying at Dursun Özbek's Point Hotel. The hotel they've been staying at since 2017, and accusing them for selling the match because they're staying at his hotel, as if, they're that desperate for about $1 or $2K worth of hotel, prices and stuff, trying to get under the skin of everyone. And you know what? It completely backfired in their face because their president shat on them. But I'll talk about that later in depth.
They're such losers, man. I swear. Like, part of my job, my last one and current one, in finance and business is you try to understand related parties and affiliated transactions, right? But by that is like if you are doing your business, whatever it is, and you interact with another party that has, different interests than you, and you guys help each other out in some way, some form, you have to understand the materiality and the importance of that transaction, right? In this case, Fenerbahçe is saying, hey, Kayserispor is a team in the league that's competing against Galatasaray, against Fenerbahçe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're getting a little favor or some sort of relationship with Galatasaray, the team that they're about to play against, by staying in the president's hotel in Istanbul. Like,
yeah,
what happened? Like, did what's the possibility here, right? Like, is our
Not just Kayserispor. Many teams come to the Point Hotel, by the way. I wanted to add. It's just not Kayseri.
Yeah,
Plenty of teams.
Like, what's going to happen from this? Like, to your point, are they going to save a couple extra grand because they're going to sell us the game? Like, is that what's going on here? You know, is our hotel staff going to get, instructions from Dursun Özbek, Galatasaray Başkan, to say, hey, put this in their food, undercook this, do that, so that the next day they have a difficult time playing against us? Is that what's going on here? And our club, most beautiful reaction possible, right? Like, they're like, oh yeah. Do we have to question the bus that Kayserispor or the airplanes that they're using because they're related to Ali Koç and his million companies under his holding, right? Ali Koç Holding, if you don't know already, is one of the biggest conglomerate businesses in Turkey. Anything that you have in your home, the average Turkish citizen has some relation to Ali Koç and his holding, right? Like, are we going to question that too? Are we going to, like, I think he has Opel.
All of Turkey's corrupt. Shut the league down right now.
Like, what's going on?
You eat Ülker related products or have arçelik in your house, you're all shaybede.
Like,
you're all corrupt.
What's going on here? And I love the last comment in that tweet by us, like, Friday Night Budget. Like, is this really the levels that you are working with here? Like, is this really the level that you want to bring yourself down to? Like, come on, grow up. And that's been the message from Dursun Özbek and Erden Timur for the last couple of months, that Fenerbahce is really trying to play childish games with us about. Like, we're not stooping to your level. Like, you're going to try and pull us into this bullshit childish reaction on social media, but we're not having it. And this was another way of us kind of answering them, which I absolutely loved.
Like, am I the only one who, like, when I read this, I'm like, for real? Like, are they for real? I can't even believe that they, like, think in this way. It is conspiracy theorist, like, Pizzagate type stuff. Like, come on, like, this goes way too far. And as a professional club, like, this is from the official account too, right? They just suddenly have, like, a full thread.
This is not from, like, Alkolik or anything. This is from their official club.
This is from their official club account. They have a thread of, like, I think there's like 6 or 7 tweets with, like, pictures are like, oh, see, the buses are right in front of their hotel. Oh, look at what they're doing, etc. I'm like, come on, grow up, please. Like, you have better things to focus on. Like, for example, winning your games and, like, big games, etc.
Bro, this is how they win, though. This is how they win, because they start shit and trying to, like, get the other team, like, mad,
riled up,
upset, riled up. Oh, you think we're gonna do this? You think we're selling the game? We'll show you. We're gonna play our best. That's the kind of reaction they're trying to get out from Kayserispor. Not only did it backfire in their face, but it made us, I think, more enticed to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's good that we stay
blew up in the
professional,
face.
at least. That's also a thing. It's good that we just mock them a bit, but, not go as far as they do. But, yeah.
We gave him a nice response and a nice response in the game, right, Yasin?
Absolutely. I mean, where do we start? I apologize. We took this long to get started with the most important topic, but obviously there was a lot to talk about. And
no, we had to go into that. That's something that needed to be addressed.
For sure. I mean, 6-0, right? Goals across quite a few different names, but our main striker, Icardi, wasting no time to get on the score sheet. Before halftime, he had a hat trick, a penalty. I guess you can say 2 penalties. One of them was saved, and then he put it back in. But a beautiful assist by Kerem, finding Icardi on the left side behind the defenders. Absolutely had the defenders spinning, goalie wondering which way he's going to go, slotted in the bottom left corner. You had Rashica doing his thing, absolutely outstrengthening, using his physique, his strength, and speed to get down the right side. Beautiful finish between the defender's legs into left corner. What better start could we have really asked for from our team? I mean, what did you guys think of that first half? I kind of just laid out the main items out, but there definitely is a lot to talk about. What do you guys think?
Yeah, there's tons, bro. I want to touch up on the guy that I've been criticizing the most all season. Can you guys guess who I'm talking about?
Sergio,
yeah.
Yes, sir. I think this was one of Sergio's best games for Galatasaray, if not the best game. I think it's part of that is the way the Hoca utilized him. He's not utilizing him like he used to. What I've seen the Okan Hoca do is bring Sergio more to the lines. So like I saw him on the left line a lot and on the right line a lot, just distributing balls from that left side. I don't know if it's because we get kind of stuck in the wings quite often, but there was tons of times where I see him get the ball from like a throw-in from Adekugbe or Sasha Boe, and then he would just like move the game around, move the flow, put in some like through balls, consistently. And dude, he was just making them like you said, Yasin. They were like in a daze at most times because they didn't know what to do. Like, should we press them? Should we not? Because he's just constantly moving the ball around, and he's been immense. It's the biggest difference from the Basaksehir game, if you ask me. Like, you can really feel his presence not being there when he's not on the field. But this game in particular, oh my God, man, he was perfect. This is the Sergio Oliveira that I've been waiting for all season. Just a few like balls that he couldn't put through. Because what I've noticed is our team makes a lot of runs past the line. There was a few times where he did get the ball in the back of their line. Remember, I think one was Mertens, where he shot at the goal and he missed, or the goalie just saved it. But that's one of the biggest difference that I've seen is Sergio Oliveira, the way he's using him as of late.
And that also makes it harder for Kayseri to press, because what I also noticed is the first 10 minutes, I was a bit like, oh, is it going to be one of those days again, right? Because we did start a bit slow. But after that, we just regained control. And, well, pretty much, I would say after that, Kayseri haven't really done much. Of course, it also helps that they went a man down in extra time. We'll get to that a bit later. But
that was when they were like 3-0 down already. So they can't.
It is
change much.
Yeah, Kayseri just tried to press a bit, but the way we outplayed them, like their defense was pretty much non-existent. There was like so much space for our wingers or Icardi to exploit. It felt really good. It felt really good beyond those first 10 minutes again.
And to add on to that spacing, I mean, this wasn't just because Kayseri happened to be bad at defense or positioning. It's we created that, right? Our players, if you watched, they're constantly moving, and it's not just one or two players, it's every single player. And if you look at our player characteristics, right, and their skills, what they're known for, every single one of our players in the attack is good at this. Even our backs as well, Sam and Sacha. You might criticize Sam and his defensive ability, or his able to really, is he as good as the rest of our lineup? No, absolutely not. Nobody will tell you otherwise. But is he able to do the basics? And that's constantly move, create action, make defenders try and, have them think about Sam and where he's going. And he does that. Sacha Bowie, obviously, he's always making that run down and up the field on his side. And you have Rashica and Kerem. Both of these guys are wingers. They're both hugging the sideline, and they're both always making runs inside. They're always a threat to any defensive line that's defending against them. Mertens, obviously, he's always moving. If you look at his field map, his heat map, he's everywhere on the field, right? Sometimes you might question, is he actually playing cam or defensive back, right? Because that's how involved he is on every side of the pitch, everywhere he goes. Icardi, he's not slow and immobile like, player like Gomis is. Instead, he's always making runs. If you notice, Kerem over the last few weeks especially, he's constantly playing balls, like angled balls between basically the goalie and the defender, where Icardi is making that run. And we always get some sort of threat out of it. If Icardi is not able to control it and play the ball back in, he's usually able to win a corner out of it because he's that dangerous on the ball in his direction. So these guys are always moving, and that confuses the defenses. So as long as we keep up the pressure and movement like we did against Kayseri going forward, I don't really see any team in the Super League that can really match that. And unless they like really park the bus and they just say, hey, strikers, midfielders, defensive line, whoever you are, get back and just sit, then we might have a difficult time. But as long as the game is kind of open the way it was, then really teams have no chance to play against us. And that's kind of like an overall observation that I made that, I think, Salih, you kind of touched on that nicely there. And Sergio, not to reiterate, but the man has really, you see it on social media too. I feel like Summit now. I'm always referring to social media, but, I try to do it in a positive way that's actually related to the game. But he's really taken ownership of this team. guys. Like the way that he says he calls for fans to back, the team up before games and after games. He's really interacting with everybody. He does questionnaires, he does giveaways and things like that. And, this is what you want to see from a guy who has a 4-year contract with the team. He was the first.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to add before we don't, he gave Kerem the free kick and he was giving him advice on how to take the free kick. The goal that Kerem scored.
Yeah, there's actually a lot.
Massive props.
Yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about that moment too. Should we just get into it right now? Because I was watching.
Go ahead.
Man, I was watching that game on 2x speed because it was on Friday and I was at the office, so I kind of missed it. But I was watching it, so it's fresh in my mind right now.
You don't watch the game on your second monitor,
I had the phone on the side, but my director sits right next to me, and I didn't want to be like, the guy that's not paying attention to
Ask him or her
work.
to join you.
He was actually really supportive. He's like, do your thing. Like he was going for a walk in the afternoon. And he's like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother asking you to come with a walk with me because I know you're watching your game. Do your thing. And he's always asking me about Galatasaray, but not, to stay on topic. That free kick, right? Mertens won it, if you don't remember. And Kerem was right near the ball where the free kick happened live. And the first thing that Kerem does is he puts both of his hands up. He looks at Sergio and he looks at Mertens. He looks at Icardi, all three of these guys who are most likely to take the free kick. And he says, I got it. He says, I got it. He had the confidence from second one to lift his hands and be like, I got it. He looked at Sergio. Sergio was all the way on the wing. To your point, you said Sergio's been tasked with staying on, closer to the line and putting crosses in. That's exactly where he was. Kerem looked over at him in his direction and says, I got it. He puts the ball down. And then you have Sergio and Icardi, talking to him, whispering a couple things, covering their mouths, like, are you sure you got it? Kerem is absolutely focused, laser focused.
Oh my God.
I said Kevin.
Kevin Aktürkoğlu.
Yeah, Kevin Aktürkoğlu. My bad. So he's absolutely laser focused. And man, does he absolutely put in a beautiful finish right over the wall into the left side, opposite side of the goalie. And the reaction after that as well from both Icardi and Mertens. Mertens, first of all, puts his hand over his mouth.
I can't believe he scored that.
He's like, oh, that's my boy. That's my freaking boy. That's my child right there. And then Icardi.
I love the vibes in the team right now, bro. I love it, man.
Dude, incredible.
This is the team I want to. This is like the championship vibes right now, bro.
Incredible, man. Like, honestly, they ran to him afterwards. They hugged him. And, Sergio, being our free kick specialist, kind of applauded Kerem after, good job. And I think it was,
He's like, Ben olsam direğe vururdu der.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Obviously.
It'll hit the post if it was me, bro.
Obviously, he has incredible power and whatnot, but he still hasn't scored a free kick, which is kind of surprising. But, the fact that...
And this is Kerem's second free kick goal, right?
Is it this season, the second
one
one?
was last year.
Oh, okay.
Last year he had one, and this year he has one.
Really?
I think.
Okay.
I can't recall.
I thought it was this season too. Neyse.
He's definitely scored before. He's definitely scored before. I don't remember if it was early this season.
Another worldly like this one.
Yeah, and my favorite thing was just the guys ran to him and they were really impressed and proud of him. The fact that he mentally showed strength to take ownership of that opportunity. It wasn't even a cocky way, get lost, it's mine. It was guys, I got this, trust me. They trusted him.
Icardi was smiling,
and
bro.
He fulfilled that trust.
Let him go.
Yeah, dude, that's all I wanted to say.
One thing I want to get into is Galatasaray actually put out a video of a training session, and Salih, they brought in a new technology, new barrage system from the Netherlands, where you can actually adjust a barrage where it goes up and down based on what you input. Right?
Yep.
Yo, shout out to the Netherlands, man.
Finally, some shout out, and
you guys are useful for something. Finally.
Yeah, that was cool to see. I think the caption was something that wasn't on accident that he scored. We actually purposely trained that, and yeah, they showed that we have this new barrage system, which, just like you mentioned before, adjusts to the opponent's height and moves up and down, and that allowed Kerem to put in that worldie of a free kick. It was the 5th goal. I mean, of course, we were already happy, but after that, another goal and of this quality. that was just very good
Now,
to see.
if they can bring a technology which would help Kerem with his first touches, chef's kiss right there. But yeah, look, people were constantly like talking down on Kerem in the early season, man, and like the character this kid has. You know, he's not his ass isn't getting kissed like Arda Güler's, right? For every little positive thing that he does, and this kid maintained that like positive mentality to constantly work, and you can see how hard he works to be at this level. He might not have the raw talent that Arda Güler, for example, has, but he has that working tenacity. You know, like I don't know if you guys know, Will Smith said this: it's not the talent that gets you to where you are; it's how much work you put in that will take you to great heights, which I agree with. And Kerem has really, really showed me that he has the mentality there, and he's not like distraught from all the criticism and negativity that has come his way ever since, you know, this league started. So I'm really happy to see this kid going to great heights. And people, if you're listening, don't criticize the kid as much, please. He's working on it, man. We got to show him some love, some support from time to time.
I mean, it speaks for itself too that pretty much the left wing is a nailed position for him. He's like a guaranteed starter. Unlike, you know, in the beginning of the season, we were saying that Kerem and Yunus would be both starting, but Yunus, we don't see as often anymore. And also this game, he wasn't subbed in. But Kerem, on the other hand, he's been, you know, working on, just like you say, putting in work consistently, and now he's reaping the rewards and getting better at it as well. He still improves game by game.
Yeah, these things that he's not good at, it can be improved. Like first touches, that can be improved. That can definitely be improved. And the strength of your shots can also be improved, because let's be real, his shots are pretty weak. It's either it's going into the corner, top corner, or it's going straight into the goalie's hands.
Like he can place them well. Like he's good at placing, but he always shoots with the inside of his foot, which is usually not that powerful, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah. You guys mentioned Mertens. Well, Mertens is with us for another year. After the Kayseri game, his contract is being extended. He is our player now for another year. So the kudos to him. Shows how well he's been performing. Versus, you know, Mata, who I think was brought in to be the number 10 throughout the season, but Mertens took that spot. One thing I want to talk about is Torreira, guys. Torreira, look, what a performance from the guy. Like, he won us that our second penalty. What are you doing in the box, man? He's playing like a striker, man. This kid, this guy, he's defending like a maniac. Like your pit bull, like they call him the Ant-Man, actually. And this man is in the box getting penalties. First of all, do you guys not find it crazy that it took 5 minutes for VAR to confirm that penalty? This man got drop kicked in the face and was bleeding in front of the ref. What? Yeah. Joe, what more do you need? Does he have to get decapitated? Like, bro, these refs, man, I'm telling you. Meanwhile, other teams, they get, you know, a slight shove in the box and get called a fake penalty right on the box. But Jesus Christ, what is going on, bro? I understand you guys want to make the league as exciting as possible, but gee, this is not the way, man. Then you get people constantly like questioning the MHK and the TFF and Mrs. Orta.
Yeah, it was bizarre that it took a long time. Like
5 minutes, bro, almost 5 minutes.
The first time you see it, you were like already like. Okay, first of all, this is like a very, 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 very obvious, penalty and also a red card. Like he just like you said, he drop kicks him in the face. After, you know what I always find funny with these situations as well, like how afterwards, like I think his name's Hosseini, right? The Persian guy.
Hosseini, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I didn't touch him. I mean, come on, bro. They're like,
no, I didn't kill him, man. He's okay. Look, he's fine.
You can like clearly see it on the tape as well. Torreira bleeding, just like you said before, on his chin, I think. Man, like, I don't know why the call took that long either.
You know why I think it took that long? Because I think they were spending like 5 minutes trying to rewind the whole game to see if they can cancel it by any means necessary. That's why I think it took that
Or
long.
they were just vibing. Like, I mean, we've heard the recordings before. It sounds like a fucking Turkish cafe over there. They were just talking about some random stuff.
Ne var ne yok, başka neler var, you know, like.
Aynen.
Listen, I do.
Bro,
I
it's
do
such
want-
amateurish, bro.
It is. Hey, but look, we have to count our blessings. It took 5 minutes, but I'm glad that the call was made, right? Like we have to still be thankful for that.
We should, but bro, like if this wasn't given, like the one before, if that wasn't given, look, even though
The Kerem penalty position, right?
Because it's still a foul, but you could say that was of course that's much softer compared to this one. But if they didn't give this one, then I would have like no words left anymore. Like this is like the most obvious thing in the world to give a pen for. Like I can already somehow see the scenes how like rival fans would be able to justify like no it's not a pen because yada yada yada. But I'm glad, but on the other hand, like Jokart, if they don't give this one,
I actually saw some.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw some fans actually say like, isn't there some sort of rule to like, for short players like Torreira who is near some people's like leg height when they lift it? Like, is there no rule to stop that from being called?
Oh, bro.
I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, you see everything. You see everything, man. It's kind of crazy.
Oh man,
that would be crazy. I've never heard that
I'm
before.
not gonna even.
Different rule because he's short, but he can't win any headers. He's already like, I mean,
bro, he
can,
jumped
but...
in the air, bro. He was like, he's not that like low to the ground. If he was low to the ground, I would understand. But he wasn't low to the ground, and this guy is just like an Olympic medalist. He put his leg all the way up in the air and kicked him in the face.
I know, and the thing with that as well was that yes, he did put his leg up in the air, but I don't know if you guys saw it as well, but while he was lowering his leg, he kind of put a little motion in it as well, like again.
He didn't retract it.
I know, exactly.
Like, what are you expecting, bro? Like, there was intent there. There was no intent to not kick him in the face, I should say. But yeah, that's one of the other goals. Icardi putting away those 2 goals from the pens. But damn, man, the first goal, what a team play. You know how we criticize this team for not being able to play out the back and score goals that way? Because we're always, like, the way we scored goals was always capitalizing off of mistakes from other teams. But we started off, again, Sergio in that midfield gave a nice ball to Kerem. Kerem has been more of a playmaker than a winger lately. I don't know if you guys noticed. He puts an amazing ball overhead, putting Icardi behind that defense line, and Icardi, chef's kiss, finish right there, and finishes it. What I'm liking that I see from this team is there's variations to our play. We have different ways and methods of opening teams up. I've noticed this, and I'm really enjoying this. There's one thing that I would like us to improve on, just one thing, and it's our organization against teams that are close in the box, like squaring balls into the box. Like, again, Sasha Bowie is probably one of these, like, he's guilty. He's always crossing the ball overhead. We're never squaring the ball into the box. We did it once today, but no one was there to capitalize on it. But yeah, I think we played really well. Let's put Rashica. We need to get this guy's bone service. I know someone's going to be like...
Please, man.
No.
Can we please get this done? Like, for me, that's priority with Icardi. Like, in terms of existing players and retaining the squad the way it is, and, potentially selling or whatever, he needs to stay on this team. Like, his work effort is unmatched, number one. He's a decent age. He's got several years ahead of him.
His goal, bro.
His goal is amazing. Like, as I described it before, he used his physique, his speed to just kind of push through. And, he created that goal for himself in a way, right? I think it came out of, midfield pressure. We won the ball and we just kind of laid it off to him and he did his thing. Like that's kind of out of nothing in a way because of his own skills and skill set. So absolute respect. But like when you see a player, your teammate, putting in the effort that he does game in, game out, that encourages you and motivates you to do the same. Like I love that. And that's so underrated from him. every team needs a guy like him on the field, minimum in like the squad, right? Like how many players do we have in our squad that's to that level of, you know, focus and level output? I would just, off the top of my head, a few. I mean, we're blessed with actually a very good squad, but Bowie's like that, Berkan's like that. I think Micho is like that when he plays.
Torreira.
Okay, we really are lucky.
We have a lot more.
Just because we have a lot, that doesn't mean I don't want him. Okay, I kind of maybe use my own argument against me, but we need to keep him. Like even if he's not going to be an absolute starter next season, he's
happy here.
He's happy. He said my family likes it here. I like Istanbul. I mean, you know, they relate, right? He's Kosovan. How do you say it? Like
Kosovan. He's from Kosovo.
Saleh, how do you say it? Do you know? Do you even know?
Look, our Americans here, we're all idiots when it comes to geography.
No. I called out the historian Saleh. If he doesn't know, then I get a break. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
you get a break.
Exactly.
I also don't know official.
So he's
Kosovan. I think it's just Kosovan.
Maybe Kosovian.
Kosovan.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Sorry to all our friends from Kosovo listening to us.
He
we
relates,
are idiots.
Okay?
Thank you.
He relates. Okay, he understands the culture, and you know he likes it here. Who doesn't? So we have to keep him. That's all I really have to say about that. He's been finding the net recently. He struggled in the first half of the season, not because of lack of effort, but just a little bit of luck and positioning. That's fine. Now he's finding the goals. So. That's great. You like to see that from him. What else do we want to talk about? Actually, I had a few things here.
Bowie, bro, from the first half, Bowie.
I mean,
dude, I think he's regaining his old form. He's dude. Wasn't Mane one of the most informed players for Kayseri? And then Bowie goes, "Oh, birader nereye?" Bro, I didn't see Mane go anywhere near the goal. I think Muslera had his most comfortable game all season. That in this Kayserispor game,
all season, I think. Right?
It's not even a save. It went straight into his hands in the middle. That's it. There's nothing else, bro. Literally, man did nothing. He could have set up a lawn chair, and just watched the game. He could have grabbed some nice tea, some nice baklava on the side, and just enjoyed the game. Nelson too, bro. Look, dude, Nelson is insane. The amount of comfort I have knowing that Nelson is playing is unrivaled. And I get there was a position where people said, oh, he should have had a red card because I think he got into an altercation with Thiam, and he was the last man along with Thiam. But it was not offside. But what people are saying was the reason that VAR might have not given a red card, which I thought
he had no control of the ball, right?
Yeah, the ball was in the air, right? And so the altercation happened when he didn't have the ball in control. Look, I'm not an expert on these situations, but I understand that there are some rules that these refs can use to interpret the situation. If you ask me, it could have been a red card. I wouldn't have complained if it was a red card because I've seen it given. But again, it's up to the VAR, man. You can't blame the ref here. It's the VAR situation.
Like again, if you would get a red card, right? For this game, of course, it does have repercussions for the game afterwards. But for this game, it wouldn't have mattered as much for this game because we were at that point, I think, 3 or 4-0 up anyway. I don't think we would have given out the game by then. Anyway, and I share the same opinion as well. Like last man, I would have expected, like if it was a red card, I would have, be content with that.
Right.
Also, I just quickly looked it up on what do you call people from Kosovo, and apparently Kosovar is actually not what they want to be called because they don't want to be treated as a different nation. They call themselves Albanians because, well, in the end, they are Albanian.
Oh, Albanians. Okay.
Look at that. Well, historian Salih with this fact of the week indirectly is here, clutch once again.
We have something.
Yeah, we got something.
I
I learned that one for the first time today.
And now back to Nelson itself. And Emir, you just said how comfortable you are with Nelson in the back. I mean, I think we all are. But is that mostly, would you say, due to the fact that Nelson really is that good? Or maybe rather knowing that if Nelson isn't there, we have, either Khan step in?
Nelson is that dude. Nelson is your insurance man, bro. Like when your house burns down, you have that insurance. When your midfield's breaking down, when your wings are breaking down, last minute ditch effort that comes from Nelson. is so reassuring. Oh, and also the air, dude, this guy has some of the most air duels won in the league. So a lot of teams try to implement that strategy where, yo, Galatasaray's pressing us. Let's just hit it up the field and let our player bring it down and take the ball and control it from there and go forward. Nelson's like, nah, bro, I'm not having any of that. And he's like, you can't get that from Kaan Ayhan. You cannot get that from Emin Bayram. You can get it from Abdülkerim, but sometimes it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, Nelson's there is like, I got you, bro. You know what I mean?
Nelson feels like the more classic center back, while Abdülkerim, just like you said, or a Kaan in a sense, is more like more of a ball playing type.
Yeah, bro.
Defender.
Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think, like Yasin mentioned earlier, I don't think Kaan Ayhan is a bad player. I just don't think he has the capabilities that Nelson has.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know? Yeah, bro. But again,
I think.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about is the coach and the subs. Got to talk about Zaniolo, bro.
Yes, I was just about to say.
People were shitting on Zaniolo for his performance in the Başak game, which I thought wasn't that bad. But this man comes in and he scores a banger. Yasin, take it away, bro. Take it away.
Yeah, he comes on, and I want to express the importance of that. Again, back to my earlier comment about shaping the game and setting the tone. Some of these guys are just not capable because they don't have that skill and ability. Some guys are just new, and they're still understanding how we play and how we want to play. You start Zaniolo when he has very little games played at Galatasaray, very little time trained with the players and the coach after the experience that he had at Roma and the time that he played. You can't expect him to get on the pitch as a starter and shape our attack. I mean, of course, it's not one person's responsibility, but as one of two wingers in our attack, you have to expect every single person to shape up our attack some way, somehow. You can't expect Zaniolo to do that because the kid is here trying to prove himself, trying to find goals, do his thing. Is he a selfish player? No, it doesn't come to that. He might turn out to be. We have yet to see that because he's only been here for a short period of time. Now, if you get him off the bench when he's still getting into match fitness and he's still figuring out what he needs to do and the shape of the game is already formed. I mean, when he came on before he scored his goal, it was already, 5-0? So the game is already shaped up, right? So now he just has to show his skill, and he absolutely did that. I mean, we saw the connection once again between two ex-Roma players, two ex-Roma teammates, I should say, between Sergio and Zaniolo. And guess what? To your point, once again, Emre, what did Sergio do? Where was he? He was on the left side of the field.
There you go, baby.
Not in the
there
middle.
You go.
He was on the left side, looked up, lifted his head, and what did he see? He saw this giant, beautiful Italian young man run behind the defense, and beautiful ball, absolutely beautiful ball. One touch that, unfortunately, some of our players have to work on, but Zaniolo is gifted with this, right? One touch in front of him, away from the defense, away from the keeper.
Meanwhile, he was getting pushed by the Kayseri player from behind.
Yeah, dude, like that's skill, right? To make that run, to withhold your strength, to keep your balance, and while doing all this, having a first-time touch right in front of you, where you can lay it off for a second-time shot, and the way that he shot it, the strength that he had it, the force of it, the little
conviction,
the spot of it, everything, absolutely beautiful. It happened
Bro, he could put a ball into orbit, bro, with that power, bro. What was that, bro?
Dude, insane, man. Like, it was 5-0. We were already spoiled. The vibes were already immaculate, and he does that. Like, if you listen to the fans, it's like they're doing their thing. And by the way, the fans were incredible. If any of you listeners were there,
bro, we have to. Whew,
yeah,
they went off.
They went off. And if as a listener you were there, thank you. You were incredible. You did your part. If you have yet to go to a game this season, we expect a similar performance when you go next time. With that said, the fans were immaculate. They were doing their thing. But when he shot that ball and went in, my God, was the sound at a different level. In fact, I don't think it was confirmed, but they said that there was a new decibel, record broken in that moment when he scored. I don't know how correct this is, but I believe it just because of how shocking it was. Like, if you're already, singing, cheering on, or whether you're sitting down, smoking a cigarette or eating, in that moment, every single person in that stadium screamed. because that's how shockingly amazing it was. And that's what Zaniolo does, right? That's why you brought Zaniolo on. Of course, in this case, it wasn't game changing. It's not like his goal gave us an extra point or anything like that, but it goes to show that we have a lot of weapons, and that gives him the confidence. It gives good vibes to the fans and the rest of his teammates. Like, incredible. And one more thing that I want to add on before I leave it to you guys. I'm sorry, I'm kind of hogging the conversation on Zaniolo, but with time in this team under Okan Buruk, Zaniolo is going to become an even better player, but also a better teammate. Because he's going to realize that he doesn't need to have all that responsibility on himself. He's going to get comfortable with who he is and who he's around. He's going to get comfortable that his coach trusts him in certain positions. And when that comfort comes...
His coach speaks Italian too.
What else do you want, man? But like, as he realizes this, because he's still young too, but as he realizes with time, he's going to play more team-friendly ball. He's going to pass. He's going to get into open positions more often. He's not going to cause issues. This you see with Kerem, right? Like, I think, Emre, you said it before. Kerem, for some reason, he's
said a lot of things today, apparently.
He's looking for these passes to Icardi. He's putting extra effort to make that pass, to get that assist. It's not just about Kerem and the goals and the shots that he makes anymore in his mind. Kerem has now also taken ownership of this team and says, look, I'm a team player because every guy that's around me, whether I look left, right, back, or forward, all of these guys are skilled and all of these guys can commit, do a good job to getting this team to winning. Because as Erdem Tumur has said, especially as Okan Buruk has said many times this season, our ultimate goal is to become champions as a team. And you see that mentality in the team week after week after week. So if you can get Zaniolo to get on that page, sooner than later, he's going to have a lot more moments where we're going to be absolutely obsessing over and watching his replays for, because he's going to make that difference in us becoming champions, hopefully. So beautiful sight. Beautiful sight.
I want to touch up on Zaniolo. Zaniolo apparently came out and said he's looking forward to actually staying another year. He said he's very happy here. And Salih, I want to ask you one thing. I don't know if this is an Italian thing. You're closer to them than we are. After the game, Zaniolo took off his shirt to give to a fan. I was like, I thought it was going to end there, but this man takes off his shorts there and he's butt naked. Not butt naked, but he's in his underwear. I found that hilarious. Is that an Italian thing?
From what I know, from what I know, and I only recently learned about this through I think CBS Sports. I think that's like an American program, no?
CBS. Yeah.
On there came the legendary striker of Alessandro Del Piero. And they were also talking about this, not about our game, but about like Italian players like getting off their clothes and like almost giving everything off. And yeah, apparently that's like a normal thing after like a big game, or especially during once you like get the title. They basically just go butt naked. Like the fans want everything off you and they're used to it. So they just give everything off and walk off with their undies.
I'm sure all the ladies out there are happy to see it.
Yeah, they won't mind.
They probably want more of it. They probably want Icardi to do the same as well. I've never seen Icardi do it, but he's Argentinian, so. But he does have Italian blood, which I found out later on.
Mm-hmm. And many Argentinians do. Like a lot of, I think Messi as well. I think he has Italian/Spanish blood, something like that.
The GOAT.
Yes.
We're speaking about the GOAT today, who might be going back to Barca. Yes, please. Thank you. He doesn't need to be in PSG. No offense. PSG, give us Icardi, please. But yeah, look, great game from us. A great response to the Basaksehir game. It's great from Okan Hoca to actually just come back and show Çağdaş Atan who's the boss. And look, he does get on my nerves. All these, he's Beşiktaşlı, right? Anyway.
I think so, yeah.
Props to him, though. He's taken Kayserispor and brought them to, 7th place on the leaderboards?
Yeah, that's crazy, honestly.
With basically scraps. So we got to give props where props due. And our team, man, look. Not only is our first XI OP, but the guys that came in. Okay, Gomez is not as good as he used to be. Okay, he shot the bed a little bit there, but Zaniolo, you got Berkan, you have Mata, you have Leo Dubois. Then you have other players on the bench like Barış Alper, Yunus, Misho, and dude, this team, hopefully at the end of the season, gets what they deserve, and hopefully that's the championship. But in order for us to get there, we need to focus on our next game, which is the Alanya game.
It's in 2 days.
This Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Boys, let's get your thoughts on this game. What are we thinking? Yasin.
I guess what I'm thinking right now is that I'm working from home on Tuesday and I'm not going to the office, so I don't miss that. So that's number one. Number two, really, jokes aside, Alanya is potentially a tough team. I think they're always a tough team. Something about Alanya's sport that always kind of just like makes me wonder. But I think we got things kicked off with this Kayserispor game. I think the concentration is at a high level right now. I think we can be even more concentrated, but that'll come with more wins as we go into the last stretch of the season. But no jokes, business, strictly focus. Okan Buruk and the team, they felt what it feels like to be the winning team and to get a taste of what it's like to be, a team that deserves a championship. I think we'll continue our run against Alanyaspor. They're actually not in good form. Their last 5 games is a loss, draw, loss, and a win. The last time that they won, let's see here, was against Basaksehir in March, early March.
Who lost against Istanbulspor.
Yeah, so they're not
interesting enough.
Yeah, they lost to Antalyaspor. They tied Giresun. They lost to Fenerbahce. But I think everybody's healthy, right? There's no suspensions that I'm aware of, so we should be able to come out with pretty much the ideal 11 again. And let's do our thing. I'm gonna say a nice 4-1 win. Yep.
4-1. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man's really going for it.
All right. I kind of agree with Yasin though that Alanya is in a bad place, but we know Ersun Yanal and how he feels about Galatasaray. Last time, what was it? Was the last game against him with his tenure at Fenerbahce? One of the games where he's like, "Oh, I think we put Galatasaray in a position where we might have actually kept them from the championship." I don't think that was his last game, but someone who says that is probably going to go, all out for his ex-team. Maybe not. I don't know how he feels. But yeah, Salih, if you probably aren't on the same page as Yasin, like you from your reaction 4-1, but what do you think is going to happen?
No, I am on the same page. It's just score-wise.
Well, score-wise, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Score-wise, yeah. So there are 2 things, right, that's conflicting for me. One, it's Ersun Yanal. I mean, he's a Fenerbahce ex-Fener coach. I think he'll try to, put in that extra mile against us, pretty much. But on the other hand, just like Yasin mentioned before, Alanya have been in really poor form. Like, look, I don't want to jinx it again because last time I said it, we lost the game, which was against Konya, I think. But
Konyaspor.
Salih,
but that game was a different story.
Did we lose that game because of what you said or something else that you did?
Nah, okay, maybe maybe also something else, which of course I won't do anymore. But look, based on form, they're like bottom of the table. They're 17th. Of course, we don't count Antep and Hatay anymore because they don't play. But they're doing really bad. So I do expect a win. I mean, we also have to go for a win, and I feel like as Galatasaray, when when the pressure's on, I feel like we just deliver. That's just the thing we do. And therefore, I think we'll win. And it will be just a 2-0 victory. I don't expect it to go like 4-1 or whatever. Just a clean 2-0 victory.
Look, 1-0, I'll take that as well. 1-0 olsun, bizim olsun. As long as these refs don't screw us over, which I expect they will try to screw us over. Because we saw what happened in the last game that Fenerbahce had, how easy it is to take 3 points from one team and to deliver it to another team. And I hope that doesn't end up happening to us. But hopefully the team understands this threat, understands the value that this game will bring if we get the 3 points. Because the same week, your opponents are playing a tough game away, which might not be as tough as it looks actually. But you still need to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Lads, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves today. It's been a while since we last talked.
Yeah.
You guys don't have anything else to say?
No, just keep
think we can wrap
supporting
it up.
us. Appreciate you guys listening. As always, any critique is well appreciated on Twitter,
Yep.
Instagram, wherever. If you don't like something that I said, let us know. If you like something that we did say, let us know so we continue to kind of go about it that way. Otherwise, keep listening, keep supporting. We do this for you guys. Of course, we enjoy ourselves talking about Galatasaray, but it's for you guys at the end of the day. So appreciate it.
Yep. You can find us at The Lions Den GS on Twitter, Instagram. If you guys have any questions, if you want us to answer your questions, you can leave us messages. You can directly message us if you want. You want to give us props. You want to give Eren, Samet, anyone props for what they do on Twitter. You guys feel free. With that said,
or you want to join the Discord? Don't forget about that.
Yes, we have a Discord. Yes, that's active. During game days, we have nice discussions. If you guys want to join that as well, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll give you an invite. With that said, it's been episode 51 of The Lions Den. Thank you for joining us. Have a good one, and peace out.
See ya.
Bye.